Before we start this video, I just want to say, I'm really sorry for the lack of videos that came out in September. About halfway through, I got really sick and I lost my voice, and I couldn't record any videos, so that entire time I was stuck in bed just researching and writing scripts and stuff. But for October, I plan on having a bunch of videos coming out since it is the spookiest time of year, and I hope you all enjoy them. But without further ado, back to the video. There are legends from all around the world that discuss strange, horrifying creatures that were cursed by the devil or carried an aura of dread that surrounded them no matter where they were. These legends have fascinated society ever since its inception, and one of the creepiest cryptids I'd ever heard about was the Bear King of Marble Falls. I'm joking, of course. I actually learned about the Bear King of Marble Falls fairly recently from my Flatwoods Monster video, and when I saw the name and the picture associated with the little diagram, it was like something just snapped. Something inside of me. I became so interested in the Bear King of Marble Falls that I didn't research his story for a week because I got focused on a video that I'm releasing around Halloween.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
But after researching the legend of the Bear King, I became very interested in where this legend originated from and scoured the internet for answers. And so, I present to you today that strange story of the Bear King of Marble Falls. On a late evening in 1901, the belle of Marble Falls, Ramey Arland, went out to gather the grazing sheep at her mother's request. Suddenly, though, the mother heard Ramey's screams echoing throughout the farm, and without a second to lose, she grabbed a gun and made haste. As Ramey's mother ran towards the screaming, she heard another scream intertwined with her daughter's that sounded similar to that of a panther. Tragically, though, as her mother arrived to where she heard the scream, there was no trace of Ramey Arland. Without a second to lose, Miss Arland formed a search party and scoured the woods for as long as they could, but with night growing ever so closely, their search ended in vain. And what made it even more perplexing was the fact that there was no trace of Ramey anywhere. There was no blood, tattered clothing, no disturbance in the ground or earth. It was as though Ramey Arland had vanished into thin air. So, the night concludes with Ramey Arland declared missing. Fast forward to the next morning, an unnamed hunter is out when he stumbles upon a disheveled looking woman. The hunter explained that as he was out in the woods, he saw Ramey Arland wandering around aimlessly before he took her back to her home. After arriving home, she told a strange story that still has people puzzled to this day. She explained that she was walking along a trail when a black bear suddenly appeared before her. The black bear, for some reason, seemed to have no interest in Ramey and quickly ran away before another creature sprang out from the chaparral. Or chaparral, it's something, it's a bush. This creature, as Ramey described it, was one that had ran on 4 legs before noticing her and somewhat resembled a human with thick, black fur surrounding its body. The creature glared into her eyes before grabbing a hold of her with one arm and swiftly carrying her towards the mountains, making these strange screaming sounds along the way. She also noted that she had a thought in her head that maybe this was the Bear King that appeared in the stories from the Kickapoo Native Americans. Upon reaching the cave on the mountainside, the Bear King dropped Ramey to the ground. Ramey attempted to escape, but each time she did, the creature would strike her against the head or against her body. Feeling that she was a goner, Ramey quietly gave up and curled into the fetal position against the wall of the cave. But when she did, the creature became calm, slowly falling asleep while she sat in the cave. Ramey explained that she was scared, but after an hour or so of watching the creature sleep, she quietly got up and left. And that's when the hunter found her the next day, thus ending her account of what happened. The townspeople, as you'd expect, were pissed. It was said that they quickly gathered a hunting party and, with the help of Ramey's directions, traveled towards the Moon Mountains where there they would confront the Bear King. Upon finding the cave and the Bear King inside, the townsfolk hesitated on shooting the creature. Their reasoning was that despite the creature gritting its teeth and pounding on its chest while screaming, it still looked human in a way. It was only when the creature began charging towards the townsfolk that they opened fire on it, thus ending the creature's life. And that's it. According to the articles I read, no one knows what happened to the Bear King's body or where they put it. But shortly after these events came to light, there was an article in the Washington Bee that reported this story and gave us the illustration that we most commonly use to refer to the Bear King of Marble Falls. But, like every legend, there are a great deal of holes in this story that don't quite make sense. One that I thought of while writing the script for this video was why Ramey Arlen was the only person that was given an actual name in the story. Surely her mother and the hunter would be remembered, but it seems as though the only person anyone cared to know was Ramey, since she was the one who saw the Bear King. Another hole in the story, according to those who live in the Marble Falls area, is that there is no such place nearby named Moon Mountain. Alongside this, there is nothing around that area of Texas that could even be considered a mountain, so the setting that the story takes place in seems fictionalized. Another large hole in the story that a lot of historians point out is relating to Ramey's notion of the Bear King and Kickapoo Indians, in which the Kickapoo tribe is not native to Texas, but rather lived further up north by the Great Lakes when they were first encountered by Europeans. However, there could be an unlikely explanation for Ramey's knowledge of the Bear King's story. Right after the War of 1812, two Kickapoo tribes settled in Missouri. By 1833, though, the tribes moved again, most of them going to Kansas, but a small portion had actually traveled to Texas. This may also not be the first time this has happened, as according to some historic documents, the Kickapoo were given a land grant by the King of Spain in 1775. The land they were given was in the northern portion of the Spanish territory of Mexico, which would later become Texas, and in modern times, there are 3 Kickapoo reservations that are still in the U.S. today, one of which being in Texas. With the Kickapoo's extensive history with the state, it is possible that Ramey Arlen possibly heard the story at some point within her life. So, now that we know the story and where the story possibly could have come from, what was the Bear King? Many people believe that the Bear King was some sort of great ape or Sasquatch due to its behavior. Pounding on one's chest and screaming at those the creature feels threatened by are characteristics shared amongst great apes and Sasquatches alike. Another thing to point out is the description of this entity. The creature was described as a large, human-like figure with thick black fur and a human face. This very closely resembles what a great ape and Sasquatch look like, and so I decided to do my own research. I theorized that maybe this Bear King was a gorilla that had escaped a circus he was a part of and had wandered his way into Marble Falls where he lived. But after a quick Google search, it became apparent that circuses nor zoos had gorillas in their enclosures until the mid-1900s, nearly 50 or so years after the events of the story actually take place. And so, with this in mind, the only answer I could possibly think of is that this creature was a Sasquatch. However, skeptics of the story believe that Ramey might have simply lied to everyone and faked the entire story in order to have a promiscuous night. Given that she was the belle of the town, also known as the most beautiful woman within a town or group by definition, it would not be unheard of that she garnered some attention, and had some admirers. I don't fully believe this though, not because of any evidence going against it, but just because the Bear King is cool as hell, and I'm not gonna let some nerd sitting behind a computer screen typing up reasons why a cryptid can and cannot exist tell me what is and isn't real. As a final note though, Unlike the Flatwoods Monster and Mothman, the Bear King of Marble Falls doesn't have that big of a following. In fact, the only thing I could find about it was that it inspired a place in Marble Falls called Bear King Brewing Company. And in the About Us section of their page, they specifically say they were inspired by the legend. And so, that brings us to a close on the legend of the Bear King of Marble Falls. As I explained before, the legend interested me because it felt kind of different from the ones I had been researching recently. Of course, I still love Mothman and the Flatwoods Monster and the other cryptids and urban legends I eventually want to talk about, but something about the Bear King piqued my interest partly because of how simple the story was. It's one of the cryptids that I feel could actually exist without much evidence to say otherwise. But thank you for watching me ramble about some creature from the infancy of the 20th century. It truly means a lot to me, and I'm so excited for some of the videos I have in mind. So thank you all for the support on my past videos, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day, night, morning, afternoon, whatever time it is, and I will see you all in the next one.